Hey, folks, thanks for tuning in to the BAMF podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and here is my contractually obligated cheesy musical intro. That little tidbit assures you, gentle listener, that you are experiencing a high quality, high production values podcast, only the finest farm to table, ethically sourced beauty conversation straight to your ear holes. With us today, we have Mr. Darrin Drader.
Hello.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm good.
We've had you on much in the past. Good to have you on again. I see you are broadcasting from a desolate landscape. I hope that's not your hometown.
Oh, no, it's not my hometown. I'm just visiting.
All right, fair enough. And we have first-time guest, Adam Thompson from Battlefield Press International. How you doing, Adam?
Good, Mike. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, it is a pleasure. And we are here today to talk about an RPG from your company called Sherwood, The Legend of Robin Hood. And this book has been around in various forms. I want to say it was first published in 2009?
2007, actually.
Oh, wow. So this is the 16th anniversary of this book.
Yes.
All right, well, tell us a little bit about it.
So Sherwood started out as an OGL setting. Jonathan, my brother and the founder of Battlefield Press, was a huge fan of Robin Hood. When we were kids, we watched not just the Errol Flynn version and Prince of Thieves and the long derided Sean Connery version of the film. As we also watched the various BBC shows, and of course, Mel Brooks, Men in Tights, gotta love it. So we did all that, and he had the opportunity to write something for. I looked at it, found it was in the public domain, found there wasn't another Robin Hood campaign in the OGL at the time, and decided he wanted to do an OGL campaign for Robin Hood. And he wasn't really sure how to tweak it, to do it the way he wanted to do it. And he found Will Upchurch, who helped him write the original version, and he was able to go through and do what he wanted to do and tweak the OGL in such a way that it allowed you to go out and play the Errol Flynn movie, because the great, I don't know if you've been to London, and if you have, I don't know if you've been to the Tower, but the running joke among the yeoman warders is that the portcullis at the Tower takes 60 men to open, or one Errol Flynn.
Nice.
Because in the Errol Flynn version of Robin Hood, he catches the portcullis and pushes it open. And there's actually a game mechanic that allows you to do that. We'll talk about that later. So, it started off as an OGL game. Years later, Pathfinder came along, and Pathfinder First Edition version was created to allow people to continue that OGL feel with the updated rules. And then Savage Worlds came along, and Jonathan loved Savage Worlds. And so it has existed in every version of Savage Worlds except for Suede, which we are doing a conversion for that now. And we're going to launch that later this year. And then like I said, it was a 3.5 game for the longest time. And Swords and Wizardry, to give the OSR feel, it has a Swords and Wizardry version. Because let's face it, Robin Hood is kind of an OSR setting. It's not quite hack and slash, but it is full adventure with a lot less puzzles and thought. Not that OSR doesn't require you thinking, but there's still a lot more hack and slash in that, because that's the way original D&D was. A lot of dungeon crawls. And I'm sure you guys, like me, came up on those original adventures and doing a lot of dungeon crawls and learning more about how to put things together. So those versions came about, and before he passed, Jonathan had been working on the 5e version. It's mostly complete. August Hahn, who manages freelancers for BPI, managed freelancers for BPI under Jonathan, now manages freelancers for me, is finishing the editing of the 5e SRD. What we decided to do, because Jonathan wanted this out, And what we're going to be doing, I've mentioned it multiple posts. This is Battlefield Press's 25th anniversary. This year is all about Jonathan. This is all about the company we founded. This is about the company we built. And everything we're going to do from now till next March is going to be about making sure that everything Jonathan built has the opportunity to be out there for people to enjoy. And we're going to do a lot of updated rules. Chris Kirby, by the way, was our very first backer in Indiegogo campaign. So it shows it as a 5e campaign, but we offer Suede rules. We're going to do Suede rules for it. And Chris was nice enough to jump in and go ahead and be our very first backer. So thank you, Chris. And this is all about what stuff that Jonathan wanted out there for people to play, people to enjoy. And so right now we're getting the Sherwood campaign going. In the campaign, we're offering not just the 5e Sherwood, which should be ready to go right after Gen Con. And the only reason we put the release date for it to be after Gen Con is because we're all going to be busy at Gen Con. Yeah. So, the release for that's right after Gen Con. We should have the Suede report out late October. But all those are included in the campaign. We have the 5e version, Suede soft launch, and we offered Swords and Wizardry for those people who prefer that system, and Pathfinder 1E for the people who prefer that system, all as add-ons.
I guess we should point out that you guys have just about funded.
What we set a fairly low goal on it initially, just to allow, just to allow a chance to get it out there and get it funded, to make sure people can get what's available. We'd like to obviously to do a lot more, and we want to get this. We want to get this in the hands of as many people as we can, as quickly as we can before we put it out to retail.
Understood. That's pretty good. This is kind of resonating with me because I just finished reading my kid. They did a modern retelling of the old Howard Pyle, Merry Adventures of Robin Hood, sort of in a modern vernacular. Showed that to my kid last month. So this looks like it'll be a lot of fun.
So I have a question. I don't actually have the previous version of this game. Wouldn't mind it, but anyway. I read somewhere that this presents Robin Hood as lawful evil. Is this true?
I would have to go take a look. Honestly, give me a second. I can tell you though.
Okay. While you're looking for that, I just want to point out I just made a tiny URL of the website. It's tinyurl.com/SherwoodRPG. We'll take you right there. Just about funded, just $4 short of funding. So this is a great time to check it out and jump on the bandwagon. You might even be the the person who puts them over the top. So move fast. Oh wow, and you can back for just $2.
Yeah, that's just a standard backer level. It's like the $1 level at.
Okay, I got you.
But I'm an MBA, and so I decided inflation needed to be factored in.
I got you. Cool.
What that does, though, is that also allows you access to all of the add-ons. So if you don't want the 5e version, you do want Suede, you do want Swords and Wizardry, you do want a Pathfinder, you can back at the $2 level and then go in and add in any of the other stuff.
That is cool. If we're gonna have an alignment debate, I'm trying to justify how Robin Hood could be lawful evil. Do you guys have a take on that while Adam's looking it up?
Well, I don't think you honestly can.
Yeah,
because the evil is debatable. I mean, you can say stealing from other people is evil. You could say it's okay. You can make a case for that either way. But lawful means you follow the laws. Mm-hmm. You can't steal from anybody if you're following the laws.
Well, yeah.
Except in this case, Robin Hood followed the law as he interpreted it. John's laws were not considered valid. because John wasn't the rightful king. So he was following the laws as they were dictated by his rightful king, not by John himself. And it doesn't look like there's alignments at all in this. So it doesn't.
Interesting.
Actually, here we are. He's actually listed as chaotic good in the 5e version.
Oh, well, okay. I was way off base then. I'm not sure where. I read that as a comment on Facebook somewhere. So
I think it was someone on Owen's post suggested he was lawful evil. I got to tell you, I would lean towards chaotic good or neutral good for that one.
The sheriff is lawful evil.
Yeah, I would see the sheriff as all. I would see if you got Prince John. I don't think that surprised me. In the Howard Pyle book I read to my kid, there was no Prince John. But I mean, it's
lawful evil, as is the
Guy of Gisborne.
Yeah, Guy Gisborne's no neutral evil. Made Marion's neutral good. Got it good for Little John. The Abbot of St. Mary's Church is lawful evil, which just actually the Abbot's kind of a piece of crap in every version of the Robin Hood story. So that really that jives.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So, well, cool. Do you guys have a favorite version of the Robin Hood story? Either in written form or a TV or
I grew up with the Errol Flynn version, obviously, so that's the big one. When I need a good laugh, but want the Robin Hood story, Men in Tights is obviously the way to go. And I'm one of the 5 people that, even though I don't consider it so much a Robin Hood story, really enjoy Prince of Thieves.
See, that's actually my favorite. I realize there's some departures from the Errol Flynn version and the stories and stuff that that it grew from, but I really liked Kevin Costner in that role. I thought that Morgan Freeman was in it and he was awesome. I mean, the cast was amazing. The story was good. It was fun. What's not to like? That's
Alan Rickman. I mean, come on. Alan Rickman is the sheriff of Nottingham.
Yeah, it was great.
How can you go wrong with Alan Rickman ever as the villain? That's why I love Die Hard, because he's Hans Gruber. I love Prince of Thieves for the same reason. Some of the most iconic lines come from him. Things like, "It's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more." No.
Yeah, I would say it was definitely a fun movie. I've always wanted to see the Sean Connery version, but I never have been able to get my hands on that. Is that considered not so great, or what's the story on that one?
Jonathan and I watched it when we were kids, and Jonathan, who absolutely loves Robin Hood films, and we both love Sean Connery, we're both like, I don't know. It was never a watch more than a couple of times film. But yeah, but even Sean Connery has played Robin Hood. So has Jason Connery, by the way, in the BBC Robin Hood series. Jason Connery played Robin Hood.
How was that?
It was decent. Little, like any time you do something episodically, you kind of a little bit, but but we're talking obscure legends of Robin Hood. The obscure ones, you don't even really see them. Jonathan didn't include them in the game, and you don't really see them in most Robin Hood, books or things that allude to Robin Hood. We have the French telling of Robin Hood, which is the legend that is used in Shrek. When Robin Hood shows up in Shrek, it's an obscure French telling of Robin Hood.
I'm not familiar with that.
And then the other one that doesn't get told a lot, but I think is actually one of the really neat versions, is Robin Hood and the Beggar Knight. It's based from the core legend, but the legend of Robin Hood and the Beggar Knight, a knight comes riding through Sherwood. Robin stops him, brings him to a meal, and then demands he pay for it. And the knight says, "Look, I can't afford this. I've got 10 crowns. This is all the money I've got." And explains to Robin that he'd used a loan from St. Mary's to get ransom of his son from the Crusade.
That was in the book we read. Yeah, I remember that one.
So when the abbot comes through and dines with him, and same thing happens. And he, after Robin has lent the money to pay the knight's debt, Robin does the same thing with the abbot, breaks open the abbot's coffers, and collects the debt of the knight from the coffers of the abbot of St. Mary's. So, yeah, the comment on that is, Our Lady looks out for those who do the right thing, and so St. Mary watches out for the knight. Oh yes, the best version of Robin Hood.
Yes.
Did you guys know that they're doing a live action version of this?
Really?
Yeah.
How do you do a live action version of? I mean, are we putting people in animal suits so they can do this
with a bow? I mean, what are we doing here?
I would assume they're doing it the same way they did Lion King and Jungle Book.
CGI then?
Yeah, it would have to be CGI. I think it's a bad idea.
Isn't that still just animated?
Yeah, technically. You can't just point a camera at them. So yeah, it's I don't know. I think the Disney remakes have a mixed, have had mixed results, but maybe it'll be good. I'm not gonna poo-poo it before it hits the theaters.
Since we're talking about versions of Robin Hood,
Mm-hmm.
the Muppet Show, the episode of the Muppet Show where they did Robin Hood.
Oh, who was the guest star in that one?
I don't remember, but my favorite part of that is the hecklers.
Mm-hmm.
The legend of Robin Hood will never die. No, but it sure got wounded pretty bad tonight.
Nice. I might be able to find some art from that. Hang on a second. Oh wow, there's a bit of art. Ernie was in that. Okay, let me dig that.
Ernie
up.
actually made it to the Muppet Show.
Well, he's in the Wikipedia article, the Muppet fandom article. It's possible he was from a Sesame Street sketch on that, but I got Kermit and Fozzie art here, so hang on just a second. But was that when Julie Andrews was on? Anyway, yeah, there we go.
Bert and Ernie are the reason why our entire generation is sarcastic, right?
Yeah, I tried to get my kid into the Muppet Show recently. He liked some of the more recent movies, and he liked the original movie from the 70s, but the old TV show was really hit and miss for kids of the age of 10. But I watched that religiously. It was in syndication when I was a kid. I'm thinking I'm the same age as you guys, so maybe you had the same experience.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So one of my favorite films happens to be The Great Muppet Caper. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that was good.
And then one of my favorite lines out of all the Muppet movies is still, how do you want to pay for your room? What are options? A, cash, B, credit, C, stick out in the middle of the night. We'll take C.
Very popular option.
Very popular choice. In 20, just to give you an idea how much I travel, in 2021, I spent 187 nights in hotels.
Oh, geez.
And, life in consulting. And
that's a lot of hotel time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was episode 323 of the Muppets with Lynn Redgrave as the guest star. The Muppet Hood story. I had forgotten all about that. I'm very sure I watched it at one point because I've seen all of those. So
I'm sure I've seen most of them. I don't remember a lot of specific episodes, but yeah. I do remember that was a weekly thing for me. We lost Mike.
Yeah. He'll be back. He'll be back. I hope anyway.
Well, he's hosting, so he better be.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, no, I think we'll just take our headsets off and walk away. Here we are.
I'm sorry. My kid found a bag of googly eyes.
Uh-oh.
This bag of googly eyes, and he wanted to talk to me about it. And I was like, I can't do this right now. Come back in 5-10 minutes. We can talk about googly eyes. We can put them on the milk jugs. We can do whatever you want to do with them, but I can't do it right now because, I'm a very important podcaster. I've got a media empire to oversee, and I just can't, stop doing googly eyes.
Get the big ones and put them on a tree somewhere just to see if you freak out,
I'm a fan of that idea. I've been putting them mainly on innocuous items I get at the grocery store, or oranges or avocados or whatnot. But going big, that's always good for a laugh too.
Oh yeah, hey, So we were talking about game mechanics earlier. One of the things that Sherwood has in it is think of swashbuckling points. It's kind of like action points in other games, but those allow you to do larger than life feats, such as referencing Prince of Thieves being shot over the wall in a trebuchet. They allow you to climb the wall with just a knife.
Nice.
You can be Errol Flynn and catch the portcullis and push it back up. Those points allow you to defy what your normal difficulty numbers would be.
Are the mechanics for that can be similar to what appeared in the previous edition? Because 5e is a bit different than than D20 and Pathfinder.
Yeah, so I was just looking at the mechanics for those. The mechanics for them are spelled out in the book. I would have to go see what they were in the Pathfinder edition, honestly.
Okay, so does it list out the various different actions that you can take and what the point cost is? Is that the way it works, or is it like you take these points and you give it to your GM and your GM and say, "I want to try this," and your GM says, "Okay." Is
that's essentially it?
Okay.
I want to do this. I want to spend a special point to do it. You don't get a ton of them. You get one every other level. So first, third, fifth, etc. You get 1 point, and so you're looking for the thing you want to do. Looking for that thing that's going to really make things better. It's kind of like the old D6 Star Wars spending force points.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a kind of a variation on the rule of cool, but with like you say, with force points or star action points.
You're playing a cinematic campaign.
Yeah.
And Sherwood is offered in 2 versions, so the rules are in there for both. You can play a purely historical campaign, or you can play a historical fantasy campaign. And so there are rules for magic in the, so you could actually have the witch latrine, you have all the historical side of it, or the fantasy side of it. Just depends on what works for you.
I like that idea. I think that when it comes to D&D plugins, there's not enough products out there that give you the non-magic option. So, Robinhood seems like the perfect vehicle for that type of thing. I'd like to see more of it, frankly. I'm working on fulfilling Reign of Discordia, which is my Kickstarter that I ran like a year ago. And that's a non-magic setting. And so I literally had to go in there and reinvent the character classes to get this to work. So I'm interested to see what approach the 5e version of Sherwood takes.
We pride ourselves as a publisher of alternate histories. We publish whatever, what.
Did we lose him?
I think he is frozen. Yeah, that's unfortunate.
We start, are trying to put together, alternate histories and military type role playing games, and we ended up our very first thing we published is a game called Cityscape, which we do plan to release a crowdfunding on for an updated version toward the end of the year, probably in November in honor of Jonathan's birthday. So just watch for that. Our flagship product is Gaslight, the Victorian game. That was Jonathan's baby, along with Stephen Miller. Stephen and I are working on it. Stephen, mostly, I'm just going, hey, what about this? Do we need to put this in? Let me and interpret Jonathan, because there are things in the editing where even the editors are like, I have no idea what he meant.
You just sent one of those to me. So I haven't looked at it yet. I will soon.
Actually, some of that is pretty. August Hahn and I have both gone over that document I sent you. So there should just be some rules things that we need in there. But we'll talk about that later. I think we're close. We're working out details with Mongoose on the quintessential books.
Mm-hmm.
But Gaslight we should be putting a Gaslight Kickstarter out either through Indiegogo or Kickstarter. We haven't decided which yet. 31 August, so watch for that. But we want to get this one out first. We're going to be able to get things in people's hands. If you're backing Swords and Wizardry or Pathfinder 1, I will have those to you as soon as the campaign clears. Not an issue. Those will be dispatched immediately. Again, 5e version, we're looking at September. Suede, we're looking at October. We're in the process of putting that together. If you back the Suede version, we are putting together a custom Savage Worlds action deck for Sherwood. And so what we'll do is if you back the Suede version, either PDF or hardcover, we will send you that action deck in PDF free of charge. The action deck is available as an add-on. We've had somebody back the action deck already. I don't remember the person's name, but if you're listening, thank you. And if any of you that aren't playing Savage Worlds just want a Robin Hood cover deck, back the action deck. We'll send it to you. It's a fun little thing to have. We're putting together action decks right now for all of our Savage World settings. We've got action deck for Pony Finder. That if you happen to back that or play that, we'll have an action deck for Pony Finder coming out. Gaslight will have its own action deck. We just got the proof back on that for the Savage World version. And then we're going, if you play anything else that we do, we're going to go through and build them. We're building an action deck right now for Kaiser's Gate. There will be one for Savage Blood Shadows when it finally releases. We're putting together, we're going through our Dinosaur Protocol, Fantastic. Chris Holliday and I have been discussing those. If it's Savage Worlds and you like Savage Worlds and you like our Savage Worlds product and you like the custom action decks, those are coming.
Nice. Hey, I just wanted to point out that you funded while we were talking.
That is awesome. Whoever the last two people were, thank you. Really appreciate you. And if you like Robin Hood, you like the setting, you want to support Battlefield Press, please keep the pledges coming. For those of you who are not aware, I co-founded Battlefield Press with Jonathan 25 years ago. I didn't have a lot of involvement in the business over the last decade or so. I work in aviation, so I've been traveling constantly. And then in the last few years, the pandemic really put some pressure on my consulting business. And so I was dealing with a lot of that rather than the publishing stuff. Losing Jonathan was sudden. It was completely unexpected. I wasn't about to let the company go anywhere. This is as much my baby as it was his. And more importantly, this is my brother's legacy. This is what he built. This is what he wanted. For all of you who have played Battlefield Press products over the years, thank you. We appreciate your support. I'm asking for your continued support. If you're waiting on something we previously kickstarted, I can't say anything other than please be patient with me. It's incredibly obvious now that Jonathan was sick long before he went to the hospital the first time. So we had I got an Ian World interview with Ed Embry coming out tomorrow. But one of the comments I'm making in it is so we had a house fire in our childhood home in 2019 last year. And things kind of started going downhill at that point. The latest production, living in the hotel, the latest ability to be productive. Pandemic hit right after that. There was just a lot of things. the stuff he was behind on, I promise you, it was not intentional. He always came through. He loved his fans. He loved the stuff he did. I inherited a company that, frankly, has a lot of liabilities and very few assets. I put an open letter out on the 5th of June for everybody and just explain the situation we're in. I'm trying to make things right. If we owe you a product and we owe you money, I'm working on it. I promise.
I'm sure you'll make good. I mean, certainly he was not alone in the RPG industry of having run some Kickstarters, and it takes time to put the products together. It's not an overnight thing, and sometimes delays happen. If you're just releasing a product, the customer doesn't see the development process and the delays that happened in that. If there was no Kickstarter, it's just, here it is, come buy it. If there's a Kickstarter, they're actually involved in the funding of this thing, which is why when there are delays and unexpected things happening, and you expect it to happen in a few days, or never a few days, a few months, and it ends up being a year and a half, whatever. There's usually good reasons behind it. There's very few people out there who are just going to take your money and run. There's a couple of them, and they've got a bad reputation.
It's happened, yes. And I've gotten the range. I've gotten the gambit of emails, right? I've gotten people that have emailed me and said, "Look, we're glad you're trying to make this happen. Take your time. We're sorry for your loss." And I've gotten, "Where the hell's my book?"
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the other thing, I think that when you get the "where the hell's my book" person, you have to remind them, you're an investor.
Yeah.
You're not a customer. You're an investor. Investments don't always work out. Now, obviously, if you're one of those people who's just running a bunch of Kickstarters and never producing anything and taking people's money, that's crooked as hell. And that's just completely not cool. But if you're having some delays and somebody's getting pissy about it, now you invested to make this product happen. You're not the customer. So got to remind people once in a while.
And on top of that, Kickstarter made my ability to get control of the BPI account sheer hell. Just,
I'd imagine.
No other way to describe it. First thing they did is they waited 8 weeks to respond to my initial email. And it would have been one thing if it had just been me. But there were multiple other publishers, some of them who have put high dollar Kickstarters through, reached out to Kickstarter and said, "Look, the owner of Battlefield Press has passed away. His brother's taking over. We need you to talk to him." The reply I got when I finally did get a reply was, "Oh, I must have missed your initial email." And it was everything I could do to not reply to that with, "Great. Did you miss the 6 others you got on my behalf?"
It's Kickstarter, when you get right down to it, is less than 200 people. It might be less than 100 people.
Yeah, I understand that, Mike, but I run a consulting company where we have a total of 6 advisors, including me.
Mm-hmm.
And we never miss replying to an email. We've never been more than a week late replying to a client or potential client.
Well, I understand they were definitely out of line on this. But,
and after that, they went to, "We need a copy of your bit, a copy of your ID, and the email address you used." Okay, all fair things.
mm-hmm.
The next step was, "Oh, we need proof that you own the company. We need something from him that said that you were going to own the company." The man who died suddenly without a will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not sure how you could even do that.
So that they made it as intentionally hard as they could. Their initial stuff was, "We need this, or we need you to get the credentials." So I got his credentials. I got logged in. The minute I got logged in, they immediately started restricting my access to his account. So
sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah, it was. It took a lot of time to be able to get access to the backer list to try to figure out what had been fulfilled, what had not been fulfilled, who was waiting. It looks like, so the Terran Trade Authority books, for instance, it looks like we've got less than 100 that still need to be sent out. And it's probably actually a lot less than that, because a lot of the ones that are left over are people who he sent POD codes to because he was running behind on fulfillment, who probably have already gotten them and then didn't bother to say anything. There were about 30 people that got them through POD that emailed me after I said, hey, can you please let me know if you have a book? And I went in and marked them, and that severely reduced my numbers. So we're getting those and getting those out the door. I'd like to get TQF out as quick as possible. There were 51 backers. I want to get that knocked out because it's low-hanging fruit, right? With 51 backers, it's just low-hanging fruit. We're Kaiser's Gate's cursed, and I've just decided that there's no. But we've got some additional help coming, so that hopefully we can get that out soon and get a quality book out to people. We've got Pony Finder, same thing. We're working on getting a quality book out. I'm working with David Silver. I'm working with the artist. We're trying really hard. And I just want to say, for anybody listening to this that is a Pony fan, David Silver is just an amazing human being. Definitely support him. He's been really good to me and really helpful. And we have a Kickstarter outstanding for Terry Mancourt's Spellmonger. I don't know if you've read the books. Great series. Jonathan was almost done with it when we lost him. I'm still trying to get some of the things tweaked and get the art and get that ready to release. But not only is Terry Mancourt a hell of an author, he is an outstanding human being. When we lost Jonathan, his comment to me was, here's what I have. Here's the version of the manuscript I have. Do what you need to do. Take all the time you need. I'll tell people you're going to be late. Just flat out. Absolutely an outstanding human being. Because you're looking for a new fantasy series to read and you haven't read Spellmonger, I absolutely recommend it. Like I said, it's not just good fantasy and good reading. The author is an outstanding human being, and that alone makes me more supportive.
Very cool.
That's cool. That's actually one I hadn't heard of before. So
yeah, same here.
Well, hey, on Sherwood, how much longer do we have in that campaign?
16 days, I believe. 15 days. Let me look. New campaign. 15 days. 15 days remaining.
All right, so a little over 2 weeks. And it just funded while we were talking. Got that BAMF podcast bump for sure with that edition. So this is a great time for people to sign up. Folks, if you're listening, if you've already backed, please share the URL, tinyurl.com/SherwoodRPG. Spread the word. I think in the last 2 weeks, this is important to push it out on social media, get as many eyeballs as you can. So that's maybe the best way you can help at this point if you've already backed.
Yep. We absolutely appreciate each and every one of you that have backed. We appreciate any help you can give us in getting the word out there for people to back. Like I said, we want to get this out to as many people as we can, as quick as we can. And we'd love to see people playing it before we get it out to retail. We'd love to go to a con and see it on the schedule. And I'll tell you, if you run this at a con, get in contact with me. Let me know. We'll send you something.
Sounds good. Well, hey, any closing thoughts before we call it a show?
Just, again, thank you, everybody. Check the Indiegogo campaign. Again, 5e, Suede, Swords and Wizardry, Pathfinder 1e. If you back the latter two, those will go out to you immediately as soon as the campaign closes. The Suede version, we're looking at late October. That conversion work is being done by Chris Halliday, wrote Dinosaur Protocol and Pulp Fantastic for us, as well as several things on his own. You can find his work, I believe, on Drive-Thru RPG. You definitely find his work he's done for us on Drive-Thru RPG. 5e SRD is being verified and edited by August Hahn. For those of you that have played the Babylon 5 RPG for Mongoose or Lone Wolf from Cubicle 7, August is the author of those. Very talented game designer, and we're very happy to have him at Battlefield Press.
Cool.
All right.
Am I allowed to plug something?
Yeah. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So yeah, I just want to plug the fact that I am the guy who runs Darrin Drader Designs, which you can find on DriveThruRPG. I'm doing short monster supplements where they are basically different monsters you can find in a biome. 5e compatible, $1.99 each. There's 5 of them out now, getting the 6th one out this week. I've also got 5e space opera classes, which I've completed the series of 6, so I don't plan on doing any more after this. Those are available, also $1.99 each. So if you play 5e or if you run 5e, keep your eye on my stuff, and you know, wouldn't bother me at all if you checked one out.
Nice. Are you planning on compiling those classes sometime soon into a sci-fi companion or some such?
Well, the idea behind that is that, you know, I'm working on fulfilling Reign of Discordia, which is a setting, but the setting requires a lot of rules. So the classes needed to be done for Reign of Discordia anyway. So I'm on one track, I'm putting Reign of Discordia together. On the other track, I am taking those rules that I'm doing that are 5e compatible for the space opera genre, and I do plan to put them together into one volume. Possibly kickstarting it, possibly not. I haven't decided yet. But you will at least be able to buy it all together as a PDF in one purchase, as opposed to, you know, 8 or 10 different ones if you want to.
Nice. Definitely, we should have you back on the show and talk about that sometime in the near future. Maybe
Cool.
a sci-fi episode. So, Adam, pleasure meeting you, sir. Darrin,
Mike,
good having you. Yeah, good having you back on, Darrin. And to all listeners and viewers, thanks for checking us out. Chris Kirby and Nocturnal Frequency Radio. Good seeing you guys in the comments. And we'll check you out next time on the Vamp Podcast.